Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're doing something a bit different, a really rapid-fire roundup we're calling the daily vibe casting. We've basically scoured X for the posts that are really making waves, the stuff capturing today's buzz. We're aiming to bring you just the essential insights, none of the noise.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Think of it like your express lane to knowing what's up. We pulled out the absolute key nuggets from 10 significant posts. Covers everything, really global affairs, market shifts, new tech, even pop culture bits. The mission. Give you that crucial context, maybe some surprising facts, keep you ahead, fast.
Exactly. No messing around. Just the sharpest takes, the interesting angles, straight to you. Let's dive in. Okay, first up, a post that's stirring up quite a bit of talk about public safety and, well, the NHS. This one's from @BesselTGMD. It reads, Sin New WS. A doctor has been suspended from the NHS for a sixth time because she keeps making errors due to not being able to speak English.
Right. This post really puts the spotlight on Dr. Monica Matko.
Yeah.
Hungarian-trained, working in the NHS, and, yes, suspended 6 times since 2019.
Sixth time. Wow.
Yeah. And the root cause. Failing English proficiency tests. I mean, the General Medical Council itself said back in 2021 her communication mistakes were actually putting patients at risk. That's serious stuff. Really hits patient trust, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And it kind of cracks open this bigger question about the NHS, right? I saw some figures. Looks like they've become pretty reliant on non-UK trained doctors lately.
A significant chunk of new hires.
Yeah, but now there's this government plan to drastically cut that back, focus on UK grads instead. Makes you wonder just how common these language issues are if they're pushing for such a big policy change.
Well, it's not just policy talk. There's research backing this up. Studies, I think one was in the British Medical Journal, showed language barriers can hike up medical error rates. Right. By up to 30% for non-native speakers.
30%. That's huge.
It is. So that really adds weight to the calls for, tougher language standards, more accountability. You can feel the public and political pressure there, wanting guarantees on care quality.
Okay, let's switch gears completely. From healthcare to crypto and high finance. Michael Saylor's back in the news. MicroStrategy's latest big buy. This post is straight from the source at Saylor himself. Strategy has acquired 4,048 BTC for $449.3 million at $110,981 per Bitcoin and has achieved BTC yield of 25.7% YTD 2025. As of 9/1/2025, we hold 636,505 BTC acquired for $46.95 billion at $73,765 per Bitcoin. MSCRC, CCRF, SOPRF.
All right, Saylor announcing another massive Bitcoin purchase. They just dropped nearly $500 million more BTC. Brings their total stash to what, almost $47 billion worth now? It's astronomical. But the real kicker here, I think, isn't just the buying, is how they're fundamentally challenging traditional corporate finance, how companies manage their reserves.
That's a great point. It's like they're saying, forget cash reserves. Bitcoin is our reserve asset now, a real bet on it being the future growth engine. And didn't some study last year mention Bitcoin volatility affecting stock markets more now?
Yeah, there was research suggesting exactly that, especially its global impact.
So MicroStrategy piling in like this, it's not just about their own books, is it? It could actually ripple out, maybe affect wider market stability, especially in places like, say, the Asia-Pacific region.
It could, and it gets even more interesting when you factor in their accounting shift this year, adopting fair value accounting. That apparently added something like $12.7 billion to their earnings on paper.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a very bold move.
Yeah.
Directly challenges the old ways of managing corporate money. Betting big on crypto, just going up and up. Could be genius, could be, well, a massive gamble. We'll see.
Okay, next up, a post that seems to have a lot of people talking, maybe rethinking something really common. A household medicine. This is from @LauraLoomer. No. Attention to everyone who has ever taken Tylenol or knows someone with autism set. Link between prenatal Tylenol at Tylenol use and autism rates under scrutiny as at HHS.gov prepares major September announcement on autism interventions. Sought autism rates continue to climb across.
Yeah, this one touches on that growing discussion about a potential link. Prenatal acetaminophen used Tylenol and autism rates.
Yeah.
And the timing, like the post says, lines up with HHS, the Department of Health and Human Services, getting ready for a big announcement in September about autism interventions. That definitely turns up the heat on this.
So Tylenol, I mean, for ages, it's been seen as safe during pregnancy, right? Doctors often recommended it. What's actually changed here? Is there new science?
Well, there have been more recent studies. One from Harvard's Public Health School, for instance, suggested a correlation, that's the key word, between taking it during pregnancy and neurodevelopmental things like autism and ADHD. So yeah, it is directly challenging that long-held medical advice, definitely making some expectant parents pause and think.
Right. Correlation, not causation. That's always the tricky part.
Exactly. And you've got the CDC data showing autism diagnoses rising, now 1 in 31 U.S. kids. And figures like HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. are using strong language, calling it an epidemic, pointing fingers at environmental factors. Interestingly, he used to focus more on vaccines. Now the attention seems to be shifting towards things like acetaminophen.
A definite shift.
But, and this is crucial, the broader medical consensus hasn't really shifted in the same way. Most experts still attribute the rise in diagnoses primarily to, better detection, broader criteria for diagnosis, not necessarily a single toxin. It leaves parents in a really tough position trying to weigh conflicting information.
Definitely tricky. Okay, sticking with politics and government, we've got breaking news about a big military command move. First, from @CharlieKirk11. Breaking. President Trump is reversing a Biden-era decision and will relocate Space Force Command HQ from Colorado to Alabama. And then echoing that from @GuntherEagleman. Breaking. President Trump is set to announce that he is reversing a Biden-era decision on where the Space Force Space Command HQ will be located. It's going from Colorado to Alabama. This is huge E.
Okay, so confirmation there. President Trump reversing that 2023 Biden decision.
Yeah.
U.S. Space Command HQ heading back to Alabama from Colorado. It's worth remembering, though, the Biden decision had military backing. General James Dickinson, the Space Command leader, argued moving would actually hurt readiness. And there was even a government watchdog report from the GAO that found flaws in how Alabama was initially picked years ago.
Right. But Huntsville, Alabama, I mean, it does have a lot going for it in terms of aerospace, right? NASA's Marshall Center, Redstone Arsenal. There's history there.
True. The infrastructure is significant.
But it's not like flipping a switch, is it? The Defense Department estimates, what, $500 million and maybe 3-4 years to actually complete the move. That's a big undertaking, raises efficiency questions.
Absolutely. And what seems really apparent here are the, let's say, political undercurrents. Trump himself mentioned things like Colorado's voting system, Alabama's support for him.
So politics playing a role.
It certainly looks that way. And, this isn't new. We've seen it before with big decisions like military-based locations, even the whole FBI headquarters debate. Often, political leverage seems to weigh just as heavily, maybe more so than purely strategic or operational factors. It really highlights that constant tension, doesn't it? National security needs versus political calculations.
Okay, let's shift tone a bit. A moment of political, maybe social media absurdity. Remember those rumors over Labor Day weekend about Trump? This post from @CollinRugg captures it perfectly. NEW. Fox News' Peter Doocy asks President Trump how he found out that he was dead. Doocy. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? Trump. I didn't do anything for 2 days, and they say there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do.
Oh, yeah. That was wild. Shows how fast things can spin out, right? A White House live stream has a glitch, maybe some slightly unclear comments from VP Vance, and boom, speculation runs rampant.
Totally. It's amazing how quickly misinformation just takes root online these days, especially with political figures.
Exactly. And Doocy just went straight for it, didn't he?
Yeah.
How did you find out you were dead?
Yeah. And Trump's response was, well, classic Trump. I didn't do anything for 2 days, and they say, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do anything for months. A bit of humor, a jab at his rival, all rolled into one. Kind of reinforces his whole always active image.
It really does. But stepping back, the whole incident, it just underscores the sheer power of social media, doesn't it? How it can amplify totally baseless stuff. And the challenge we all face, trying to sort fact from fiction in this, constant stream of information. Trump called it fake news, sure, but the fact it even became a thing says a lot about our current info environment.
Definitely. Okay, moving on. A really interesting post now about communication, identity, and how politicians present themselves. It's short and punchy from @Cattard2. Just says, it's all fake in an act.
Right. This is aimed at Representative Jasmine Crockett. There's this perception, fueled by some online videos, that her accent shifts depending on who she's talking to. The suggestion being, like the post says, that it's maybe an act to appeal to different groups. It sparked quite a debate about authenticity.
Okay, let's unpack that idea a bit. This whole thing, it's often called code switching, right?
Exactly. It's a known linguistic thing. People, consciously or sometimes unconsciously, adjust how they speak, their dialect, their tone, even word choices based on the social situation or their audience. The idea is usually to make listeners more comfortable or ensure understanding. It happens all the time, not just in politics.
Sure, but in politics, it seems to get framed differently.
That's the fascinating part, how it plugs into these big debates about what's real or authentic in a politician. Some people see code switching as just smart communication, necessary even for connecting with diverse groups of voters, bridging different cultural backgrounds. But others see it as, well, manipulative, inauthentic, like it's like calculated performance, not genuine adaptation. Really raises questions about how much language shapes our perception of leaders. Yeah, it's a tricky line. Okay, let's jump to sports now, with a bit of pop culture mixed in. This one definitely got people talking. First, from @LangmanVince. In case you're wondering why Bill Belichick took one of his woes losses in his entire coaching career last night. Remember this, Arch. And then @NFL Duff Kleiman posted, Gus, Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, had gone viral after being spotted talking to him during UNC's first game last night. We have never seen something like this, Ars.
Oh, yes, the Belichick debut at UNC. That moment definitely went viral. His girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, on the sidelines talking to him during the game. That's, well, you just don't usually see that in high-level football. Very unusual. Drew a ton of attention, as you'd expect.
And the timing was just brutal, wasn't it? This happens during his first game as UNC head coach.
Right.
And they get absolutely hammered by TCU, 48-14. Apparently the worst loss of his entire coaching career, NFL included. Yeah, the optics weren't great. That huge loss just magnified everything else, put his whole transition under this intense spotlight. Every sideline interaction suddenly felt significant.
So you have the girlfriend on the field, the big age gap, 49 years?
Huh.
The terrible loss?
Exactly. It all combined to fuel this massive wave of speculation and criticism online. Was he distracted? Had he lost focus? Now look, there's no actual proof linking her presence directly to the bad performance on the field. But the perception was definitely there. That became the narrative. Things got so wild, there was even talk about a trademark application for Gold Digger somehow connected to her. Shows you just how much scrutiny was on them.
Wow. Okay, final today. Let's look at a legal story unfolding over in the UK. Involves media, justice system, complex stuff. This post is from @RobinsonNewEra, Tommy Robinson. It says, "It's official. I was innocent. The media lied to you all again."
Right. He's sharing this official letter, a notification of no further action, NFA, from the British Transport Police. It relates to an alleged assault back in July at St. Pancras Station. The letter basically says there wasn't enough evidence to prosecute. And a key factor seems to be that the alleged victim chose not to testify. The Crown Prosecution Service agreed with the police decision.
Okay, so Robinson presents this as total proof of innocence, slams the media, I was innocent, they lied. Seems clear-cut from his perspective.
It's a strong statement, for sure. But the legal reality is maybe a bit more nuanced. Legal experts often point out that an NFA isn't quite the same as being formally declared innocent or fully exonerated.
How so?
Well, technically, an NFA means they could reopen the case if significant new evidence pops up. And sometimes, even with an NFA, it might still show up on certain background checks, like the DBS checks needed for some jobs. So it's not always a completely clean slate in every single context.
Interesting distinction.
And what's maybe more insightful here is how this whole episode, his arrest, the investigation, his framing of the outcome on social media, kind of reflects these broader tensions, right? Tensions within the UK justice system, how high-profile cases get handled, the role of the media. When victims are reluctant or evidence is borderline, prosecutors naturally tend to be more cautious. It highlights the challenges in proving certain types of allegations and how public opinion often runs ahead of the strict legal definitions of guilt or innocence.
Makes sense. Okay, and that wraps up our first daily vibe casting, a really rapid run through today's buzz on X. We covered a lot about NHS challenges, crypto moves, political relocations, viral moments, legal nuances. Quite the mix.
Yeah, the goal was just to hit those key insights, get to the context quickly, keep you informed on what people are actually talking about right now.
Precisely. And before we sign off, maybe something to think about. In this age of instant info where everything spreads so fast, often without the full story, what's our responsibility, as people consuming all this stuff? How much should we be digging deeper ourselves?
Good question to ponder.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive. We'll be back tomorrow ready to cast the vibe on whatever the feed throws up next. Until then, keep digging.